So we are going to start with a presentation from Beth Zonis on the how to apply for Cleantech Open and kind of explaining what it is. And then Beth will move us into a panel discussion with Thorne, Sparkman, and Derek Stein and Ben Sorkin. And they are all here. So Beth, I'm going to mute myself and let you kick it off and introduce yourself.
I'm Beth Zonis, Director of Cleantech Open Northeast. Tally Kane is on. So Tally, do you want to wave and say hi? Tally is our
Hi, everybody.
Tally's our interim program manager. And Katie West. Katie, do you want to wave? Katie is our program coordinator. So let me go back to my, thank you both for doing that. And I will go back to my presentation, which I think just, so Cleantech Open is combating climate change, growing the green economy, and improving environmental justice through innovation and entrepreneurship. And so you may have heard of our company in a few different ways. So NECEC is the Northeast Clean Energy Council. NECEC is our employer who works on clean energy policy, market development, and innovation to make this region the best place to do business in our sector. Think of NECEC as a green carpet for clean tech startups and so much more. Cleantech Open is a national program. It's the oldest and largest accelerator for clean tech startups. It's like a mini MBA. We expect 40 to 50 startups this year in the Northeast and about 100 nationwide. So we're super proud of our set of sponsors. As a nonprofit, we do not take equity in the startups that go through our program. We are very grateful to all of the sponsors who help make it all possible. They also offer specific benefits to our startups. So you'll get to know them as you progress through the accelerator. Some of these names may seem familiar. And I also wanted to point out that we have many in-kind sponsors this year offering over $300,000 worth of goods and services to the startups in our cohort. These include incubator and co-working spaces, consulting services such as marketing and communications, accounting and assistance on special projects, software packages and financial assistance for Cleantech Open participants in Rhode Island. So you'll hear more about that later. And to participate, you need to have a solution with an environmental or sustainability benefit. In each cohort, we typically have teams in all categories. So you can see there's quite a range of categories from energy generation to chemicals and advanced materials, agriculture, water, and waste. We are willing to consider many different types of solutions. So what's it all about? All of our startups get access to the online curriculum and events. We run an academy, which is what we call our boot camp that kicks off the accelerator at the beginning. This year, the academy will span 3 days. You'll be exposed to the key topics covered throughout the accelerator and meet many of the key players. We also hold clinics for more personalized coaching. And everyone says that the best part is the mentoring. With hundreds of dedicated and experienced volunteer mentors in the Northeast, we can match as many as 4 mentors per startup. Oops, sorry about that. Mentors guide the startups through the curriculum, and in many cases, they stay in touch with the startups after the program has completed. We have an Investor Connect at the end of the accelerator for startups to meet various kinds of investors. We also host showcases so that our startups can introduce themselves to the general public. And at the end of September, we hold a Northeast regional pitch competition. The finalists will pitch publicly and compete for cash prizes. So this is one of the things that makes it extra fun. So what do you do? So the curriculum consists of 10 modules. These are the 8 deliverables. We call them essential business deliverables. Each week during June, July, and August, you'll have a new assignment, and many of these things will be required during that period. These are all the things that you need to run your business. Yeah, we go through quite a bit of detail on each one. And this year we're going to be adding a few new things. Whoops. Okay, well, let me go to my impact graphic and then we'll talk about the new things. So we're very proud of our impact statistics. Since 2005, Cleantech Open Northeast has graduated since this was printed, over 450 startups, and there are over 1,800 nationwide. The number I'd like to call your attention to is right here, where my cursor is, the 68%. So 68% of our alumni are still in business. They're employing over 3,300 people. And also in 2020, 63% of our startups were led by a woman or a person of color as a founder. So, and in 2020, we had the largest cohort ever with 47 startups matched with about 175 mentors. We're a small team, and this is quite a feat, but we have some amazingly dedicated and brilliant mentors who make it really, really amazing. So what's new in 2021? There are several new things that I'd like to share. So in addition to attracting more diverse participants, we'll train the cohort on the value of having a diverse team, as well as on how to build a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're also introducing some new content around what we call GHGERP, which is the greenhouse gas emissions reduction potential, which is a long way of saying, what's your footprint? And essentially this is designed to give our startups an advantage in a world now where impact measurement is increasingly important. And this will give them a leg up when talking with investors, but also when talking with potential employees and partners and clients. I also want to point out that we have a carbon sequestration prize this year. One of our sponsors, the Sire Foundation, is sponsoring this. And this is for a company that completes the accelerator in the Northeast. We have an additional $10,000 above and beyond the quote unquote regular prizes that we will be giving away too. So altogether, there are $50,000. There will be $50,000 in cash prizes, plus over $300,000 in goods and services. So key dates. Here are the key dates to keep in mind for 2021. If you're selected to participate in the 2021 Cleantech Open Accelerator in the Northeast, you'll be invited to these events. On May 10th, all of the accepted teams will introduce themselves. And on May 11th and 13th, we have mentor mixers. These are for startups and mentors to meet prior to matching. June 2 to 4 is our academy. We'll run several workshops during the summer, and we'll hold the Northeast Regional Finals, September 28 to 29. The first day of that is private judging. The second day is public pitching. The Global Forum is the biggest event of the year, where the entire cohort from across the US and Canada comes together, and all events that are listed here are opportunities to learn and to build your network. So any questions? If you're looking for additional information, check out this bit.ly. It's bit.ly/CTOMK2021. And maybe one of my team members can put that in the chat. That's our media kit. And I also wanted to point out that this is the application information. So it's bit.ly/CTO2021. Our application deadline is April 18th.
So we'll keep dropping it in the chat too.
Thank you, Tuni. And I am done with my presentation. So I thought next we will hear from Thorne, Derek, and Ben, and we can call them all up to share the screen. So Thorne is with the Slater Technology Fund, and he's sponsoring Cleantech Open for the 3rd year in a row, I think. And Derek and Ben are both alumni of Cleantech Open, both based in or have Rhode Island connections in different ways. So Derek is with Textile Materials, and Ben is with Flux Marine, and I think I should let them tell their stories.
Thanks, you guys, for pulling this together. I'm Thorne Sparkman, the Managing Director of the Slater Technology Fund, and we are an early stage seed fund that focuses on startups in the energy, clean tech, software, and life sciences spaces here in Rhode Island. So I've been investing in companies that are coming out of Brown University and URI and the Naval Undersea Warfare Center and the general network of awesome entrepreneurs around Rhode Island for over 20 years now. And I see my colleague Bob Chatham there in black and white gray on the screen as well. So that is my role with startups around here and with the Slater Technology Fund. What more can I tell you? Should I gush a little bit about the Cleantech Open and the Northeast Clean Energy Council, or should we save that?
Go ahead. You got the floor for a few minutes.
I've got the floor for a few minutes, like soliloquy. Okay. All right. So the Slater Technology Fund believes that we believe so much in the Cleantech Open that we have agreed for the third year in a row to defray any costs that that you might incur in getting into this accelerator / contest. So why do we do that? If you're an entrepreneur and you're at the earliest stage, you're probably driven by the idea that you've had and the impact that it might have, or the how great your company might be in the next 5 years. And you also may be daunted by all the things that you have to do or have heard you have to do. So how do you make that go, no go decision? How do you figure out, are customers going to be interested in what I'm doing? How do you figure out how to build a team? You have to do those things by connecting with people, whether it's the customers or people who are going to help your company or investors. And that is just a Herculean task. So how do you do that if your world feels small, especially these days? Maybe you're in a dorm room or you're in your little office the way I am here. You do that by plugging into networks of people. And the A+ network for clean tech in the Northeast is the Northeast Clean Energy Council and their basically activity, the Cleantech Open. So I see, is Mitch still? I see Mitch Tyson here. So this was, we owe Mitch the vision of this network. So if you think of all the companies that have come out of the West Coast, and LA's cranking now, and of course the Bay Area, those networks have been developing for decades now, and everybody knows each other, and the entrepreneurs become angels, become venture capitalists. It was Mitch's vision, and he is a serial entrepreneur, to make the Northeast function as one network. So what does that mean? That means that it's not about the things that are only in Rhode Island or in Massachusetts. It's about the network effect of being able to plug into investors, whether they're in Cambridge or Boston or Rhode Island or Maine. And I can attest to the power of that because I hang out with these guys, and we go to the Green Tie Gala each year, and it's packed with people. It's packed with founders. It's packed with people that are running energy plants around New England. It's packed with investors. So that is the magic here. And that is why it's a no-brainer to tap into those networks of people and figure out how quickly you can talk to 50 or 100 customers. And after that phase, how quickly you can find co-founders and how quickly you can meet with investors to see if you can get capital into your company. So I think maybe I should stop there, and maybe Ben or Derek can talk about whether they agree with that.
Yeah, well, before I turn it over to Ben
Okay.
and Derek, I do want to make sure that we capture what it is that you're doing this year to make it easier for Rhode Island teams to participate in Cleantech Open.
Okay. So there is, how do you describe the tuition? Is that an entrance fee or a?
Yeah, let me actually preface that. So each year we charge $1,350 for each startup to participate. And for the last few years, Thorne has made that go away.
The Slater Fund has, the Slater Fund in Rhode Island has made that go away.
Yes. Right. So do you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. So first, let me say that $1,300 to go through through an accelerator where you will literally be taught finance by venture capitalists, like the guys, like some of the investors that they have. You'll literally be connected into scads of mentors and customers. That is actually a pittance. It should be 10 times as much money. With that said, if you are an entrepreneur and entrepreneurs suffer through all kinds of risk to get to the promised land, that may seem like a lot of money, and struggling a check for $1,300 when you are a founder may seem like a lot. So because we recognize the value of that experience, if you go into this and make it through the end, you have to soak up all the experiences and make it to the graduation. You don't have to win anything, but you got to be there for all the stages and get all the benefit out of it. Then the Slater Fund will make that go away. So we will refund whatever expenses the entrepreneur went out of pocket.
Thank you. So making it all so easy. So I thank you very much, Thorne, for all you do and for all your kind words. And thank you, Mitch, for getting us all started. And I'm going to turn it over to Derek next from Textile. And Derek, if you could give an introduction as to who you are, what you're up to, what Textile is about, and tell a little bit about your Cleantech Open experience, and maybe tie in some information about how the other parts of the network in Rhode Island have been beneficial to you as well.
Sure, thanks for the introduction. So my name's Derek Stein. I'm the founder of Techstyle Materials. I'll tell you a little bit about my story, because the people I want to target are people, whoever's online right now who is thinking about doing the Cleantech Open. If you've got an idea and you think it can become a company, maybe you can sort of signify yourself by throwing your favorite emoji or punctuation symbol into the chat or something, just to get a bit of a count. Anyway, my background is I'm technical. That's where I'm coming from. I'm a physicist by training, and my day job is physicist at Brown University. And a few years ago, I got really interested in the question of how to make buildings better, because buildings consume like 40% almost of our primary energy, and so they're a major source of emissions. And they're challenging. There's all sorts of things that a building has to do. You got to be comfortable, energy efficient, durable, and cheap. And so it's not easy to do all of those things at once. And it's not as sexy a topic for a researcher to work on. So if you're a physicist or an engineer, batteries are cooler, and so are solar cells. But I was thinking about this a lot, and there are real important things that we can contribute. And I had some great technical ideas, but I wasn't coming at it from the business side of things. And I knew that there was a big barrier there to cross over and to turn something that seems like an interesting technological innovation to something that can become a real business. So just briefly, what the innovation was is a new kind of material. We call it a multifunctional material. And think of it as like a coating that you put on building envelopes. And it's something that automatically regulates how moisture moves. So you solve problems of moisture damage. It's a huge problem, it turns out, for homeowners, whether it's the rot or the black mold that they're exposed to builders because of the liability that they suffer when they put up something and they get litigation and callbacks, and also to the manufacturers of materials. They don't like it when their material rots away. So we think we have something really valuable to offer. Finding that path to what are the things that the builders, the homeowners, and the manufacturers really care about is something that happened over time. And the Cleantech Open was the first step in that process. So I'll tell you where I was coming from. So my mental space at the beginning. This is a cool idea. I think it's got potential. But I know that turning technology into products isn't easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it. So how does it work? And you start learning about what it is that is going to need to happen and the things that Thorne said. So you got to learn about customers. You got to learn about financials. There are legal considerations. What about HR issues? What about operations? Can all of this stuff come together? And if you're coming at it from an outsider's perspective, like you had a cool idea, it can seem overwhelming. What the Cleantech Open does is it takes this seemingly overwhelming challenge of learning all this stuff, and it breaks it down into a system where point by point, week by week, you're learning how to do one crucial part of what it takes to take a business to the next level, right? What is a business model canvas? I had no idea. Maybe if you're listening, maybe you have no idea too. That's okay. That's 1 week and you'll get it. What's an executive summary? Well, don't worry, it's 1 week and it's something that's going to help you along the way. What are your financials and how is that different from a financial model, right? Those are two important things. So step by step, this is a program that systematically teaches you the things you need to know. And so it lowers the barrier to going into entrepreneurship and to try to take your idea and make it really happen. Now, to do that, you have the absolute pros on your side. So the Cleantech Open is the place to get that training in the United States if you've got a clean tech idea. And without any exaggeration, the place to do it is in the Northeast. The network of mentors that you'll have access to are the best. So, we were lucky enough to go to the Global Forum, which is kind of like the national final of this thing. And so we met people from around the country. And there's some really sharp cookies in California, don't get me wrong, but they're better in the Northeast. And so when you're going through your financials, your financial model, you're working with some of the absolute best investors and people who run, financial modeling for their institutional firms. You're talking to people who are professional HR experts who tell you the ins and outs of what it means to start building a team. And so you'll demystify the process, you'll learn it, and you'll learn it from the best. And along the way, you're building your own network that's going to help you and teach you what is the path of getting from where you are now to the steps that are proven that other people have followed to get you to a place where you've got a thriving business. And so for me, the experience was invaluable, and the relationships that I formed there are still serving me. And they also, gave me the confidence to think that, okay, yeah, I think I can do this. and the further along you go, the more confidence you build. And a lot of it is about that.
So I'm gonna steal the mic away from you for a moment,
Yeah,
Derek, because we do also want to hear from Ben. But I want to point out one other thing that that Derek may not have mentioned, which is that as a result of his work in Cleantech Open, we were able to nominate him for a fellowship with the National Renewable Energy Lab, which he won. So that was just one of the many things I think that that came your way. So great to see the progress that you're making, Derek, in your venture. I'd like to turn it over to Ben Sorkin, of the CEO of Flux Marine, who also went through Cleantech Open and has probably some great things to say too. So go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I see a lot of familiar faces over on the participant list, so really great to see everyone there. But quick background of Flux Marine. We are a startup based in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, and we're dedicated to building high performance, all electric marine propulsion systems, mainly electric outboards from 15 horsepower up until over 150 horsepower. Getting now just a little bit about the Cleantech Open and the Slater Technology Fund and the Rhode Island ecosystem. It's been instrumental for us and our company. Being a hardware startup, there was a ton of bootstrapping. And as Thorne mentioned, $1,300 out of pocket for a founder is a lot. When our $1,300 fee we put into the Cleantech Open, before we got the reimbursement, we carried that on a 0% APR credit card to keep it going. So that was super helpful that Slater was able to come in and underwrite those costs. And I think Derek did a great job of talking about what you learn from the Cleantech Open. And there's the full set of business fundamentals you can get from the Cleantech Open. It's a longer accelerator, so it's really useful in maturing your company and maturing those actual things instead of just learning about them and then being on your own implementing them. But the biggest thing that we've gotten from the Cleantech Open and from being here in Rhode Island is really the network and the people. Working alongside Beth, going to the Northeast events, then going to the Global Forum as well in LA. The people we met there were fantastic. We ended up meeting a bunch of investors. Thorne actually introduced us to our first customer who funded the first paid prototype. And we showed that to dozens of investors that helped us raise our first round of venture. I see a couple of those investors here today. So thanks for stopping by and, seeing the prototype originally. But overall, Rhode Island is really the ocean state and it's become our home. We've received a lot of support before from Massachusetts and the Boston area, and we continue to work there with the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, but we've really found a long-term home here in Rhode Island with groups like the Cleantech Open, the Slater Tech Fund, 401 Tech Bridge, RIMTA. There are a lot of really great groups here and really great resources. And so for any aspiring entrepreneurs out there, the best thing you can do is reach out. Thorne would be happy to learn about you, see if you're a good fit for his fund. Beth will be happy to turn your startup into something that Thorne would like. And overall, we couldn't be any happier to be anywhere here, but here in Rhode Island. So hopefully as things get safer, definitely expect to see more people in person and have some people to come down and check out some boats here in East Greenwich. So I'll turn it back over.
Great, thank you, Ben and Derek and Thorne for all your thoughtful comments and explanations. And if we have like 1.5 minutes left, I would love to hear from Derek and Ben quickly. What is the next step for your venture?
Seed funding, prototypes, success.
Great. It sounds like you're well on your way. And Ben?
For us, we got the funding. We're also now doing some government contracts with the National Science Foundation. So it's hire, and demos. We want to get as many people as possible to see our boats, get out on them, and start customer acquisition.
Well, then that also brings up another idea, which is that if anyone's interested in pursuing a job with a startup, these could be 2 potential employers for you. So check them out.